down.
Well, joining us now is Peter Rosenstreich. He's a chief market analyst at Advanced Currency Markets. Good morning to you. What do you make of all that's going on at the moment?
Well, I think the short-term gains that we've seen in the Japanese yen are basically more short-term than anything else. I think the spike that we saw in these numbers this morning has to be taken with a grain of salt due to the fact that the last month's numbers, there were some uncertainties in the market with hurricanes and earthquakes that caused spending to go down. So it was pretty obvious that we were going to see a spike on the upside. I don't believe the outlook for Japan is as strong as these numbers make us believe. And I think the Japanese yen is going to keep a bearish tone from now going forward.
Against all those three that we mentioned, the pound, the euro, and the dollar?
No, I don't think you can do a broad-based decision like that. I think it's going to hold relatively steady against the pound and dollar, and I think the euro will do well against the Japanese yen.
What expectations do you have of future trading when it comes to the yen and the so-called carry trade? Do you think it's just going to be used as a haven against risk in the short term?
I think it's going to be used as a haven for risk. I think you need to pick your carry trades a little more carefully than you did going through 2006 and 2007. I think currencies like the CAD, the Aussie, the Kiwi, and the Euro, because of the higher interest rates and the central bank emphasis on holding and tightening, will do well against the Japanese yen. And then currencies like the pound and dollar, where the central banks are looking for the next rate to be a cut, will underperform.
What's happening to the dollar's status now? It was considered the reserve currency of choice, but now we're seeing the euro gain. We're seeing perhaps, well, definitely a more stable picture in the eurozone. Do you think there's a chance that the dollar's going to lose this so-called safe haven status?
I don't know if it's ever going to really lose its safe haven status, but I think it's going to diminish in the midterm. I think the Eurozone is proving itself to be relatively stable. I think the central bank is doing a good job containing inflation and the growth prospects, even though the German numbers came slightly worse than expected this morning. I think looks to be relatively strong. And I think the next move for the ECB most probably is an up move. So I think that's good, providing some substantial support.
As someone that looks at the currency markets, I'd like to get your thoughts ahead of today's data in the US. You've got the deflator numbers, the PCE numbers coming through, also University of Michigan confidence.
Well, I think it's very interesting. I think the construction numbers will come out weaker than expected. I think that will show some, considerable weakness in the real economy. I think the PCE deflator will also come down, giving room for the Fed to move on, cut further on the next cycle.
Peter, last day of the third quarter. We're entering the fourth quarter after a turbulent quarter just gone. Let me put you on the spot. Top pick currency trade for the coming quarter?
I still like the yen crosses. I think the Aussie, Kiwi, and CAD, I think will do very well for the next quarter.
OK, Peter, thanks ever so much for joining us. Peter Rosenstreich, Chief Market Analyst at Advanced Currency Markets.